What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Flamesword, and like I told you in the first controller video, I was going to do one that was updated because I said before the tournament, HCS Raleigh, December 17th through the 20th, I would be tweaking my settings, definitely lowering them because 8.8, I've become super comfortable with it, but I just know logically that playing on a lower sensitivity or lower than 8.8 would do a lot more pros than cons for me than if I was to stay in 8.8 going all the way into the event. So now that there's about 2 weeks until that tournament, which starts December 17th and goes until December 20th in Raleigh, North Carolina, I'm preparing myself. I told you all about that. And not only did I decrease the vertical and the horizontal, but I also tweaked with my dead zone, so I will get into that as well. So without further ado, let's look at these settings. Here we go. So if you do want to see my button layout, that is in the first video. I may even update my settings even more, right? If I figure out anything else more or come up with any more concepts, ideas that I think that you could tweak the dead zones to obviously benefit you in the game. So we'll be discussing that, but if you do want to see my button layout, that is in the first video, so definitely click on the box that hopefully pops up right here. So if you do want to see that, click on that video that you just saw. But we are going right down to our sensitivities, and as you can see, I have my look acceleration still set to 5. I'm still a crazy man. I think if you played any other Halo in your life, the default number they put you on will literally make you feel like you never played a Halo ever in your life. If you were used to playing it since Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, Reach, ODST, 5. Well, 5 I can't really comment too much, but the original ones, right? Like from the beginning. You need to put this on 5 to make any of these, the horizontals, verticals, in my honest opinion, to feel somewhat comfortable and familiar to you as a Halo player. Now, as a new player, I also think you just want to put this on 5. If you played any other game, Apex, Call of Duty, you name it, I feel that the default number they put you on will make you feel like you are playing on one of the slowest sensitivities you've ever played on in any video game in your life. So that is why I put that on 5. Now, moving down to our horizontal and vertical, I have now shifted down to 6 and 6. And I want to discuss the 6 and 6 and how I came to 6 and 6. So how I ended up finding myself on this number was I first started by going down to 5 and 6.5. Horizontal was 5, vertical was 6.5. And something about 5 just didn't feel right. And I started coming down to the conclusion that it had to deal with the dead zones as well. For me, at least, what I was noticing was that each sensitivity, I had to mess around with the dead zones a little bit more for each one to, I guess, complement one another is the word I'm looking for, because that's what it seems you have to do with these dead zones. It seems that you really do have to kind of figure them out to tweak them in order for your controller, your settings to feel the most comfortable that you could obviously feel on Halo Infinite. So I moved down to 6 and 6, and interesting enough, in my stream, one of these just the other day, there was a chatter, there was a viewer called Shooter, put him in the VIP slot with all my other VIPs in my stream because he said something interesting. He said he looked, I think he said the linear theory or something, but he was talking about numbers, and I could understand where he was going because of my analytical brain and how I think. And from what he said the strafe speed of a Spartan would be matched at 6.5, and he said the maximum jump height of a Spartan would be 6.0. And now obviously if you have step jump on or off, depending where your Spartan is by an object, you're only going to jump the height of the object that you are near, or if you're not near anything, you'll jump maximum height. But I found that interesting because I was on 6 vertical, and this is what someone in my chat said, so I was like, it's interesting. Like, I wonder if there's any merit to that. So if there is few people out there who enjoy experimentation and you want to follow along on what he said, since I already have 6 as what he said was the Spartan jump height, horizontal would be set to 6.5. So if you want to experiment with that, let me know how that turns out. Definitely come back in here and drop a comment, but let me know how that goes. Zoom level, don't mess with that. I have that all at default. Here is the interesting part, the move thumbstick. So center dead zone still left at 0. Max input threshold, from the comments of my first video, I told everyone in that video I had this concept, this idea that with these dead zones, or these inputs I should say, because this is an input, not a dead zone, But with these systems right here, center dead zone, max input, and axial dead zone, I felt there was something you could do to create your Spartan to have the most efficient and reach maximum speed immediately. And from the comments that I read on the YouTube video, the comments that keep coming into my Twitch chat, we've come down to the conclusion that it for sure has to be when you put your max input threshold to 15, because then this means that you don't have to reach the end of the rim for your Spartan to realize you are moving right or left, and it will reach that maximum speed a lot quicker. Now, if you remember from my first video, my dead zone was set to 10% here, or 10. I moved it down to 4 because what I found to be a little bit more comfortable than just keeping it at a random number 10 and following what I did in MCC was. Kind of followed what it said, but I basically put mine to the lowest value I could have it at without there being stick drift. So without my Spartan moving on its own, because I wouldn't never want it to think that it's moving left slightly when I want to move it right, and then it has to like overcompensate because left is being held, almost like the game is thinking I'm holding down A and then, you know, trying to go D as well while holding down A. I don't never played keyboard mouse like that, so I don't know if you could just hold A and then hit D and then go the other way, or if you stop moving, because two different inputs and obviously you can't do left and right at the same time. So I've moved mine down to 4, and that is where I have no stick drift. Moving down to the look thumbstick, this has been the same. Center dead zone 0, didn't move it. Max input threshold, didn't move it. I don't want to move this because I want to have the entire space of my right stick to be able to use. I don't want it to be in this invisible cutoff line that I can't tell visually, so I kept this at 0. But now in the dead zone, just like the look dead zone, or the move dead zone I should say, for the move thumbstick with the axial, I moved this to the lowest number I could without it having stick drift. Surprisingly enough, the dead zone that I had in Apex Legends was also 5, and it's pretty crazy to see that this dead zone matched up with that identically, which I think is just absolutely crazy. And there we have it. And now, just since, you know, we're already on it, might as well go into the buttons, even though I did that in the first video. But for new people who are watching this fully through, I am a Scuff partner, by the way, so I do use a Scuff Instinct Pro. You can use at checkout on Scuff Gaming to get a 5% off if you do use code Flamesword at the end of your checkout off the entire order. So anything on their website, anything you want, you put that in the cart, use my code, you get 5% off. I help you all out, you all help me out. It's muchly greatly appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you do so, definitely tweet it at me so I could show you some more love. But by default, I was playing Button Puncher, but Button Puncher has left trigger aiming, and I wanted to go back to old school Halo where right stick clicked in, it was aiming. So with that being said, and that's just click. I click in to aim, it stays aimed in. Before, it was hold down left trigger, and I think most video games now for control, like Apex Legends, I believe I was aiming the left trigger, you hold it down, you let go. So now it's just toggle basically with my right stick, but that's how, if you ever played Halo from the beginning, that's how usually it was. My left trigger now is to throw grenades. My left bumper prior used to be to throw grenades, but now I have it set to switch grenades. I set my crouch to my left directional pad. And then with that, I mapped it to my back left paddle. Marking enemies or marking, you know, power-ups, weapons, or any of that is up on my up D-pad. I set that to my back left paddle. My sprint is also my left click in, but I set it to the back paddle too, just because certain things are better on buttons versus the sticks to click in, because they're doing 2 inputs and I want to be aiming instead of clicking in crouch with that right stick whatsoever. I don't want to overcompensate when I'm aiming to then hit crouch, and then, you know, like the movement might alter my aiming, so I don't want that. And then I also believe just hitting crouch on a button gives you more response when you want to do curb slides, speed slides, whatever it may be in Halo Infinite. I also claw, so my A, X, Y, B are all the same. A is jump, X reload, Y switch weapon, B is melee, right bumper is my equipment, then obviously right trigger is to shoot my gun. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all are able to take something from this video. I know we jumped into another concept, another theory. This one now not presented by me, but I've definitely gained an interest in it because my vertical was already set to 6 and shooter was telling us 6.5 for horizontal and 6.0 for vertical. So again, if you want to experiment, definitely let me know if you do and leave it in the comments below. If there's any sort of other Halo Infinite video or settings video you do want to see, leave that in the comments below as well, and I will definitely try to get to that. I know some people are asking me for call out videos, so I know if we get this video to 500, most likely, because you also heard me ask right now for 500, that we will get some call out videos, and I'll try to knock those all out in one day so I could come out with them all in one day. So you all know call outs or general call outs that most of the top Halo players are using. So the lingo starts passing around all different sectors of the Halo world, the Halo universe, which ultimately helps us just become unified, that, you know, if we're playing with anyone and everyone is understanding of the same call outs, we're all on the same page. I don't know why I'm doing this thing with my hands, but that's the end of the video. I already asked you to drop a comment. Subscribe if you haven't already, though. Leave that like, because we're trying to get to 500. But as always, this is your boy Flamesword. I hope you all have a good one, and I'll see y'all later. Peace!